Prairie-Wapiti.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In February, the government released a statement regarding whirling disease in the Bow River Basin watershed, outlining steps that will be taken to contain the disease, such as testing provincial aquaculture facilities and Class A fish farms. To the Minister of Environment and Parks, can you please update this House on the status of the whirling disease in Alberta?
Minister of Environment and Parks.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you to the honourable member to the question. I appreciate it very much, and I appreciate the opportunity to update the House on this particular matter. It is a pressing matter for the health of the fishery in southern Alberta. There's no question, Mr. Speaker, and that is why we have proposed $9 million extra dollars within this year's budget in order to address the problem of whirling disease, Mr. Speaker, in order to expand our education efforts among anglers and boaters, to ensure that we are quarantining commercial fish farms, that we are deploying resources for monitoring and further testing, Mr. Speaker, so that we can at least know where the disease is and contain it appropriately. Thank you.
First supplemental.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Given that hundreds of recreational and commercial fish culture licenses are under review by the government, and given that stocking season is days away, to the same minister, what is the status of these reviews, and when can those waiting expect a decision?
Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you to the members of the question. Of course, we have been able to test many of these commercial fish operations, and I would be happy to follow up with the member to give him a full status report on which ones have been cleared and which others still require further action, Mr. Speaker. We're working with those commercial fish farms in order to have a response plan that works for them as well. Thank you.
Supplemental.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Given that the entire aquaculture industry plays an important role in Alberta's economic diversification, and given that this industry is estimated to have an impact of up to $14 million per year and is losing investment every day decisions aren't made, to the Minister of Economic Development and Trade, what is being done to support the long-term viability of these family-run fish farms so they can support your efforts to diversify the Alberta economy and grow the fish farm industry?
Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And there is no question that whirling disease poses a challenge to commercial fisheries as well to our wild fish populations, Mr. Speaker, which is why we have taken the actions that we have. We have invested more resources into monitoring, into testing, Mr. Speaker, and working with those commercial fish hatcheries to ensure that we can work with them to develop a plan going into the future that works for them and that works for anglers and for the tourism industry, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.